Hello and welcome to this round 8 here at Grand Prix Prague, and we have Jonathan Angelescu up against Thomas Holzinger. They are each at, it says 5-1, but going into round 8, I'm guessing it's more likely to be 5-2 here, because these players are aiming to get that 6th win to make it up to the point where they're going to be able to draft tomorrow. And each of these players with black cards working for them, though Holzinger also with blue thus far. Blue-black, a popular combination, though not one where currently either player has been able to commit any permanence to the board. Let's see if Angelescu can fix that. Yep, Crow of Dark Tidings tries to get on the battlefield, but is stopped by a Rune Snag.
Yeah, Thomas did not want to hold to that Rune Snag for too long because he had plays. Also, he had a Dimmer Guildmage, so if he wants to activate the Guildmage and draw cards on his turn or make his opponent discard, he does not want to keep a Rune Snag in hand. Like, he would never be able to cast anyway.
I mean, Rune Snag is kind of a nice one. It's good in a format where you know there's going to be some powerful bombs to have a little bit of counter magic. But yeah, use it while you can. A sleight of hand here, just helping Holzinger improve his hand a little bit. Livius de Groons did come down safely enough for Jonathan Angelescu, but Angelescu's still just on a single color of mana, which at some point may come to bite him.
Well, look at this. He has access to black mana as well.
All those swamps, in addition to being swamps, are in fact swamps, thanks to
Urborg,
Tomb of Yawgmoth.
So he gets black and black.
Meanwhile, Murderous Redcap dealing with the one non-swamp permanent on Jonathan Angelescu's side of things, and meaning, of course, that Holzinger developing a little bit more of an aggressive board here. Here we go. It looks like we have the blue-black mirror. And indeed, Dimir Guildmages on both sides. I mean, this common, so powerful. An obvious inclusion anytime you're playing blue-black. If you're only playing one of those colors, is it still going to be good enough?
It's going to be hard to cast. Not too much to activate, but the double black in the cost, double blue if you're playing a blue-green. If you play, for example, black-green, might not be worth it. It's 2/2 for double black, and the discard ability is just so much harder to use.
All right, so these Dimir Guildmages, they've traded off. Murderous Redcap gets to hang around for just a little bit longer, and we'll see what the follow-up is here for Holzinger. He's tapping his land, so he's got something going on. Talrand Sky Summoner seems like a good one. I mean, this is going to be one that, I mean, he's cast it on turn 6 when he's got a couple of mana up, and that means that potentially he's going to be making a few Drakes very quickly indeed here.
This is probably one of the best cards, if not the best card, in blue-black or blue-red. Talrand.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like with the likes of Think Twice, with the likes of various sort of small... I mean, we've already seen Sleight of Hand.
Oh, wow,
and
look
Rune
at this.
This is just the full straight-up mirror here. We've got Talrands on both sides. Thomas Holzinger, he's the one that untaps with his first. That means that potentially he's going to be able to be the one that... I mean, if he plays a removal spell on Talrand here, I mean, that's such a huge swing. Kill your Talrand, get a creature of my own. Swings in with both these creatures here. Offers the trade between these two legendary Merfolk wizards.
I think he has a Death Denied in hand, so he would not actually be trading. He'd be trading now, but he would get it back, so...
I'll give you a Talrand now for 2 later.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, no bites there on the attack, and the follow-up is a Gurmag Angler. Exiles a couple of cards from the graveyard in order to leave up blue-blue, potentially threatening some sort of interaction.
All black-black.
It's true, yeah. With that Urborg in play, he's got access to all of his colors, assuming his colors are just blue and black.
He could play Death Denied for 0 and get a Drake.
I kind of like it. I mean, it's one of the lower power things that he could do on the curve, but it still generates him a Drake, which is not nothing.
Death Denied, a key component of the Kamigawa block Spirit deck.
I loved that deck. It was very complicated with the likes of Hanakami and splicing and oh my goodness, it did an awful lot, but Death Denied set up some cool loops, and here we see Archaeomancer coming along to potentially get back something nice for Angelescu here, because of course all that Talrand wants is spells, and all that Archaeomancer can return is spells. They're a natural combo, assuming that you've got some spells.
Did he mill something? Was it the Think Twice?
Yeah, I think so. I think he got back the Think Twice, so he's going to be able to actually think 3 times. One
and
more
make two 2 Drakes.
And Holtzinger here.
Again, trying to force the trade, but Jonathan is not falling for it.
I mean, I love the interaction between Archaeomancer and Death Denied as well. Another one
Yeah.
of the variety of ways that Archaeomancer can end up just generating endless value, assuming you've got endless time to do so.
Although it costs a lot of mana.
Oh yeah, almost all of the things involving Archaeomancer cost a lot, but you know what? Sometimes those games do go late. As things stand at the moment, Angelescu, he's on 8. We've got 2 Talrands in play that thus far have been 4 mana 2/2 Merfolk. We haven't seen a single Drake created thus far.
Here
It's
we go.
up to Angelescu to finally get things going on the Drake count. Drake count 1 thus far.
Well, the interaction that doesn't cost so much is Turn to Mist.
Ooh, yeah.
Turn to Mist and Archaeomancer. For 2 mana, you make a Drake pretty much every turn.
That I like. That I can dig.
So you play it on your turn, comes back at the end of turn, you bring back the Turn to Mist, you get a Drake, go, during it's actually two a turn for 2 mana. For 4 mana, 2 a turn. 2
And
Drakes a turn.
these are the sort of interactions, if you know about them beforehand, that when you get into the draft portion, which is where we're
Yep.
heading tomorrow, you get a chance to actively look out for them and try and piece them together as you're building your deck during a draft.
Yeah, as I said earlier, Turn to Mist is a card that's pretty good on its own. But once you draft it, even you can draft it early in the draft and find a lot of very good interactions with it.
All right, so here we're seeing Death Denied. It's going to allow for a Drake to be created. I'd have been tempted to tap Derange Assistant there and see if you can maybe even get an extra target.
I just arrived, so I don't think he...
That's true, yes, you are correct.
Oh.
Well,
control magic here.
after a fashion, so bouncing 1 Drake, creating another. So there was the combination for Angelescu. He does have access to both Archaeomancer and Turn to Mist. So if he's got a Death Denied to get back his Archaeomancer, we could gradually start jumping through hoops in Angelescu's very special 3-ring circus. As things stand, though, he needs to watch out for his life total just a little bit. That Gurmag Angler, at least for now, has done some good work on the life total of Angelescu. Once we hit Drakesville, getting significant amounts of damage through on either side might prove a little bit strange. And I guess that at 5-2, when you find yourself in something so close to the mirror, at least you know that you were doing something right in terms of picking a good deck to play.
That would be more true at 7-0.
I guess so. Okay, so
Yeah, Champville is not exactly where you want to be with the Drakes.
yeah, I mean, even that Murderous Red Cap, it gets to come back, do a single point of damage on the return. And the purple dice that we're using, they're for the -1/-1 counters that get thrown around by the likes of Persist, just so that we can have a clear distinction between them and +1/+1 counters. Along comes Dimir Guildmage, and
You want to make discard, I think. No.
goes for the draw. I mean, I guess that if you draw into spells, it ends up being worth so much that I can see the allure of
Yeah.
going in that direction.
But at this point, don't you want your opponent not to have spells?
Yeah, I mean, Ghoulcaller's accomplice there. It's a 2/2, but you want to be making 2/2 flyers or stopping your opponent from making 2/2 flyers.
Yeah.
As things stand here, think twice, generating another Drake, finding another card for Jonathan.
I guess drawing is fine here. If you want to get further in your deck.
Looks like there might be an Ancient Tomb sat in Angelescu's hand. That one unlikely to have a big impact on this game, though worth noting that you can play it and just tap it for black mana because it will also be a swamp.
That's actually the best way to use it at this point.
Yeah,
I've seen it not put to great use by Andrea Mengucci earlier. Well, it powered the turn 2 Glenelder Archmage. It also dealt about 12 or 14 damage the whole game.
All right, another Dimir Guildmage. These Dimir Guildmages, they just can't help themselves. And this time round,
this time
Ancient
it's
Tomb
2.
is being tapped for 2 mana in order to help out a Elendra Archmage. So the blue rares are pretty strong with Angelescu. The Archmage and Talrand, both very potent indeed. And Holtzinger,
Yeah, and tapping with eight lands and an assistant, the ranged assistant, that's potentially 3 cards to draw.
I mean, Glenelender Archmage means that spells, even if they don't resolve, I mean, they're still generating Drakes, so it's not the end of the world for Holtzinger here. Just drawing cards with his Archmage for now. Sorry, with his Guild Mage. Many mages on this battlefield, it must be said.
And this is classic control versus control, where the one with the most lands has access to more action.
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to run out of gas when you got a Zimir Guild Mage on your side.
What's the black card in Holzinger's hand?
I can't quite make it out thus far. I'm sure we'll see soon enough. Holzinger, the one who's able to push the tempo a little bit.
Is this Slum Reaper?
Difficult to get full value from that Slum Reaper while there are so many Drakes knocking around.
Yeah. It's only one here.
Well, this could work out kind of well for Holtzinger. Angelescu.
He has the more. He has more creatures. He has more mana, even though Angelescu has an Ancient Tomb. But he's not going to be able to use it to full value here. He can just use it as a swamp.
So actually using the discard ability there,
Here
getting
we go.
the last
Oh,
card.
wow. That was a grave Scrabbler.
Oh, so if there had been enough mana to be able to madness it out, that could have been unfortunate. Happened to pick a good moment
to get
clear out the last
a
card.
Necromancer.
Yeah, that would have been huge.
That would have been pretty good.
And it may well be that Angelescu was just desperately holding onto it in hand in the hope that he was going to be able to madness it out.
Although the problem is that he only has 2 blue mana. So he could have played the Ocumancer, retrieved just the wind, and not be able to cast it.
Sad times there. As things stand, we're getting a chance to find out what he has drawn here. Angelescu tapping down.
Grave Scrabbler, originally printed in.
That would be, let's think about this. Time Spiral?
Oh, Future Sight.
There we go.
It had a different frame.
That's correct, yeah. I mean, though, to be fair, there were quite a few different frames in that block between the...
Well, the actual, very different frame.
Okay, Twins of Marrow Estate coming down here for Jonathan Angelescu. That was his pickup for the turn. And Holtzinger just using the range assistant at the end of the turn there just to get more cards in his graveyard. Between Delve and various cards that can be played from the graveyard either by flashback or other means. A lot of value for him in doing so.
Okay, from which world did Grave Scrabbler come from?
It's a great question. There's a Mana Vault coming down here for Holtzinger.
Oh, Mana Vault against Ancient Tomb.
We've seen Mana Vault in our feature match area also. Obviously has the potential to go a little bit poorly in terms of if you can't afford to pay to untap it, but the acceleration it offers is pretty spectacular by today's standards. Not too many cards that you see that generate more mana than they cost to cast these days.
What's been milled? Was it a Counter Squall? It's a gold card, so...
Can't quite make it out just now.
And I think he drew an Urban Evolution.
And Counter Squall could prove pretty decent in this matchup. Worth remembering, of course, that there is a Glenelender Archmage on the other side of the battlefield that can sacrifice itself to counter something, assuming that that something is not a creature.
There's the Slum Reaper.
Pretty favourable trade there, the Slum Reaper dealing with Glenelender Archmage, and in return on the other side, Holtzinger only losing that the Goblin that had already done most of its work. So Holtzinger just gradually eking his way into this sort of the lock here. What do we have here coming from Angelescu as he tries to figure out his way out of this?
And Death Deny would be great.
Death Denied at this stage in the game would be pretty fantastic. I mean, we saw Death Denied from Holzinger just to return a single Dimir Guildmage earlier on.
Oh, the Maelstrom Pulse. So Thomas Holzinger is splashing green for Urban Evolution and Maelstrom Pulse. So I expect a Terramorphic Expense in this deck, at least to splash for the green. And maybe a Forgotten Alchemy to Finite Forest. Well, Frantic Search, that's a good start.
It lets you dig deep, it lets you make some tokens. And Angelescu there just making clear that his Ancient Tomb, he is not going to be paying a couple of life for a couple of mana anytime soon. Even though with Frantic Search it is a bit of a combo, it lets you ramp up your mana a little bit. At 5 life, that gets very dangerous indeed.
Does he get to play more spells? Frantic Search, originally printed in Urza's Legacy.
Yeah, very, very powerful mechanic indeed, being able to untap lands when you cast spells. Even if it's just all of your lands tapped for 1 mana, it's pretty good. It's a free spell. But as soon as you start having lands that tap for multiple mana, it gets crazy.
And a Treasure Cruise now.
All right, Treasure Cruise. This is the time of the game when Treasure Cruise, you get to cast it for almost no mana and drawing all those cards, generating a Drake. This is how Angelescu gets back in this game, if he's going to get back in this game.
He needed something to get back, and Frantic Search into Treasure Cruise is exactly what he needed.
So far, he's spent 1 mana, he's drawn 5 cards, discarded 2 cards, and
made 2 Drakes.
Made 2 Drakes. Not
he's still behind,
shabby.
but not that far behind.
Yeah, this is all of a sudden far more interesting than it was mere moments ago. There's a Terramorphic Expanse from Angelescu, and just passing things back now.
Here's the forest to cast the Urban Evolution. So that's gonna be like Johnson's going, drawing 3 cards for 1 mana, and that's gonna be Thomas drawing 3 cards for 4 mana.
You know what? You work with what you get.
I said 4 mana because of the ability to play an extra land from your hand.
Yes, so that makes sense. I was going to say that
it's 5 mana minus 1 from the land you actually play. So basically just only 4 mana.
I am excited about the new addition from Ravnica Allegiance. Growth Spasm? No,
Spiral.
Growth Spiral, yes.
Yep.
That lets you do so at instant speed.
Yep.
Putting lands into play at instant speed, drawing cards, sign me up.
I mean, we were looking for a way to have another land in play in Turbo Fog.
Oh yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
Very interested to see how Ravnica Allegiance shakes up the standard metagame. It will obviously be out relatively soon, and indeed, if you want to get a feel for what's in the set, you can already have a look at the visual card reference over on magicgathering.com. There you see the Growth Spiral. Blue and a green, draw a card, put a land from your hand onto the battlefield at instant speed. That's the exciting bit. Here is Ether Snipe.
Probably getting rid of a Drake.
Getting rid of a Drake seems pretty exciting because the Drake can't come back, but the Twins of Mara Estate appear to be the choice here for Holzinger.
Yeah, let's not forget that Jonathan is on 5 life. So his block for the Angler was the 3/5 and 2/2.
Yeah.
Now without the 3/5, the blocks are a little more complicated.
That was the easy block.
And that's also the only possible block.
It's now just a matter of how much he wants to get in front of the Gomag Angler, because if he wants to trade with it, he's going to need to put everybody he's got there, and that does not seem like an enticing proposition.
Yeah, Manival doing good work here.
I mean, it's not very often that you see a Mana Vault at this stage in the game still be relevant, because with so much mana, it seems almost greedy to need to have the Mana Vault involved.
Oh, wow, look at this.
All right. I can dig it. Gets to put that Maelstrom Pulse back on the bottom of his deck.
Look at this. He milled Chainer's Edict.
Chainer's
with
Edict.
Assistant.
I mean, this is exactly why we talked about Deranged Assistant, just with the value milling being important, because every now and again you find a flashback card, and that's like just drawing a card.
Yep. Drawing a 7-drop.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the front side of Chainer's Edict a lot cheaper to cast, but this way around he gets to draw another card on that next turn rather than the Chainer's Edict, and potentially with the amount of mana he's got going on, he could do both.
So do you see what just happened?
There's a Plains in play, Ralph.
Yeah, I think Thomas canted Johnson's library.
Oh my.
Just in case.
Has he got
Because this game is pretty advanced already, and there's been a lot of cards played and a lot of cards drawn.
Has he got a sneaky plan? It seems to me like there's enough creatures on Holtzinger's side of the battlefield that it's going to be a little bit tricky to...
He's not going to deck Jonathan. But if it was to come down to this, he would probably be a little bit ahead. Yeah. I'll take the damage, that's fine. I'll take 1 for Mana Vault.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it seems only fair given the amount of damage you're dishing out that you at least show you're willing to take a little bit yourself.
I mean, it's literally spending 1 mana to gain a life. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't need that 1 mana. Well, Jonathan is tapped out, so he has 4 blockers.
And this doesn't appear to be a lethal turn unless there's a little bit extra going on, but...
Well, there's a Chainer's Edict, so it would be only 3 blockers. And 3 blockers is not enough. 2 plus 2 plus 1. That's 5 damage. And that should be lethal.
Angelescu here just making sure that he's fully thought through everything that's going on. He's not going to scoop prematurely. Chainer's Edict, originally from Torment, comes back in Ultimate Masters and still pretty decent. It's one of those things that when you look at flashback costs, it doesn't matter if they seem sky high by regular standards because that's just a bonus card.
Yeah.
The first time round it was just 2 mana and a sorcery if you cast it from hand. At 7 mana from the graveyard, you've just got an extra card that you can potentially use. That enough for Thomas Holtzinger to pick up game 1. Quite a long game 1, it must be said. These guys are a little under half an hour left on the round. And now they're going to be going to their sideboards, trying to figure out if there's anything they're going to be able to do to adjust things as they go into their game 2. In what is about as close to being a mirror match as you could reasonably expect to ever see here in an Ultimate Masters weekend. Each of these players figuring out how much to change. 7 rounds deep into their 8th round. I'm guessing they've got a fair idea of what the important switches are that they might potentially make.
Yeah, they should know their deck by now. And the options they have, especially in the mirror.
Yeah, I think that there are some archetypes that you see a lot more than others, especially in sealed. They're just a little bit easier to assemble. And the blue-black decks, we've seen a fair amount of them. And part of that is just the raw strength of the commons and the fact that their synergies are relatively straightforward. They're just simply looking to draw more cards, get cards into the graveyard, make the most of flashback.
Synergy with Dimir Guildmage is you have a 2-drop and a lot of lands.
Yeah,
that's good synergy.
Yeah, and you're probably planning on running them anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just a kind of a Brucey bonus that you get there.
So you play it and you play lands and you draw cards.
And realistically, if you weren't playing lands, you were probably losing anyway.
Yeah, so might as well
just
play the lands, yeah. And draw cards.
Yep.
Good synergy.
Looks like Holtzinger still making a few last considerations here as we go into game 2. Sometimes when you're a game up, it's easy to kind of get a little bit complacent and just sort of say, well, if it was good enough in game 1. But, I mean, that was a long game. It wasn't like it was a fait accompli that it would be Holtzinger that came out the victor there.
Also, 25 minutes is not a lot to start game 2, especially in this kind of matches where, both players take a little time to actually win the game. So if it was Jonathan to win this second game,
Yeah,
the
it's
time
sort-
would actually become an issue at the end of game 3. And when you're 5-2 and you plan to make day 2, you don't want to draw on the 8th round.
I mean, I would be tempted for a matchup like this to look to something like if I had a big expensive Eldrazi that maybe wasn't going to be good enough to make the cut in game 1 because I need to bear in mind my mana curve, I need to bear in mind the fact that I could be playing against quick decks. Yes, while blue-black does have bounce, does have removal spells, with the likes of Death Denied and so on, you've got the potential to get them back, and a big threat like that can close out games could prove important.
Yeah, you'd probably. I think Thomas would play if he had a big Eldrazi, like a mythic Eldrazi. He would play it anyway since he has a mana vault.
Mm-hmm.
So
Have we seen any of the mythic Eldrazi in our feature match area? Certainly not on our rounds, I don't believe.
no, I don't think.
No, I don't think there's been any of them there. Like, weirdly, the mythic Eldrazi, when you're looking at the blue-black deck, you're milling yourself with
Yeah,
range
but you don't
resistant.
really want to shuffle your deck.
It's a little bit messy when you shuffle your deck back together again. Something like an Umlog's Crusher or an Artisan of Kozilek, in some respects,
Easy game.
Yeah.
You play it.
just throw it on in there.
I guess it depends on how you plan to play your game, and how many flashback spells you have, and how many delve spells you have.
Yeah, I mean, if you're mainly looking at having a bunch of last casts and various other removal spells, then shuffling your graveyard in might seem a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, maybe Ulamog is a little expensive. I mean, 11 mana. Do you risk shuffling your graveyard into your deck for Ulamog? Just to play Ulamog?
It's an interesting thought. Sound off in the chat if you've got some feelings on...
Considering you have Mana Vault.
Yes. Yeah, Mana Vault does change a little bit of the math in general on what seems like a reasonable thing to be able to cast.
I mean, you wouldn't play Emrakul. Like, playing Emrakul would just be...
Emrakul is frequently a bit of a trap in this format.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to get into play. I mean,
Kozilek is not
Kozilek's
that
interesting.
expensive.
10 mana, draw 4, do some other stuff.
Yeah.
Be a big old body.
Is it Annihilator 4 or 6? Is it 4?
4, I believe.
Kozilek, yeah.
Okay.
Just 4 cards, and what else does it do?
It's a big body.
That's it. It's 12/12 indestructible.
No, it's not indestructible.
Just 12/12.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get confused with all these.
There's been various iterations of the big Eldrazi over the years.
Oh, it can't be blocked by something, right? He has a blocking thing.
So along comes Olivia's Dragoons, because that's a card that we know is being played in this matchup from Jonathan Angelescu there. On the other side of things, that is the Sultai Skullweaver. So it's just putting a couple of cards in the graveyard, putting a Plains and a Terramorphic Expanse in there, which could prove a little bit awkward depending on exactly how Holtzinger has sideboarded, because if he's splashing a little bit of white, that might be his white mana, apart from, I guess, he's got a Vessel in there somewhere, hasn't he?
So he has, let's say he has 3 white sources, 2 of them are gone.
A little awkward. Trove Dark Tidings and the other things, doing a relatively good impression of a flying Sultai Skullkeeper.
And that's where the blue-black deck can go aggro as well. So, yeah, the thing with this blue-black deck is that it has a very good late game, but it's not too shabby in the early game either.
Yeah, sometimes
King close games pretty early.
You make your 2-drop, you make your
quickly.
3-drop. I mean, right now, if he wants to, Angelescu can be flying in the air for 4 damage. Just gets in for 2 for now. The Crow of Dark Tidings there.
The one
doing
crow.
good work.
And his buddies watching in the back.
Think twice in hand for Angelescu, so he's got some action even though he had to pass with mana up. Rune Snag in hand for Holtzinger.
And a white card. I didn't quite see what it was. Oh, is it the Miraculous Recovery? Yeah.
So a little bit of counter magic between Rune Snag and I think there's a counter squall as well available to Holtzinger here.
Yep.
Counter squall effectively a negate with 2 damage thrown in on top.
Angelescu has a lot of ways to find his third color. 2 expenses. That's
a
rich.
very happy amount.
Yeah. That's a happy amount. That's what Saito would say. He's happy,
Yeah.
happy mana swords. Happy mana base.
It just opens up so many additional options, especially after sideboarding, when you know that you're going to be able to find your splash colors easily. And Olivia's Dragoon's on both sides of things now. Very quickly finding the double black, potentially setting up, the likes of Mona the Unhallowed, that sort of thing. Follow-up play here coming from Angelescu in the form of Forbidden Alchemy. That one meets a Rune Snag. So we knew that there was the likelihood at some point that Holzinger was going to pull the trigger on his first piece of counter magic. The card drawing is what he chose to use it on.
Yeah, Forbidden Alchemy is such a good card. Not only does it get you one of the best of the next 4 cards, puts 3 of them in your graveyard.
It's not where you want cards to be a lot of the time.
It's not impulse. You don't put the cards under your library. It's in the graveyard. That's exactly where you want them to be. And then it has flashbacks, so it's just a whole lot of value.
And that really represents a lot of what Ultimate Masters Limited is all about. There's so many different ways of extracting value from creatures with coming into play abilities, spells with flashback that you can cast a couple of times, straightforward card drawing. It was not a surprise to me to find Marshall Sutcliffe deciding to take one of his rare weekends of not covering an event to play an event that was Ultimate Masters Limited.
And Frantic Search, discarding a Grave Scrabbler.
Just doing it all here. Using the Madness on Grave Scrabbler in order to be able to get back a creature. Goes to hand. And immediately gets cast.
So the Frantic Search that's supposed to lose your card got him 2, I think?
Yeah, that's a pretty good going, because when we look at a card like Frantic Search, it's free on mana.
Yep.
It draws you 2 cards, discards you 2 cards, so it kind of hopefully improves the quality of your hand, but it still costs you a card, which is the Frantic Search itself.
In that case, he paid 1 Frantic Search and 1 land to get 2 cards. A Grave Scrabbler in play, so -1 card lost, +1 Dragoon.
Yeah, very, very solid indeed. That's how you want to string it together. The other way that you sometimes see Frantic Search used to maximal effect is when you've got lands to untap that tap for more than 1 mana, where it represents mana generation in addition to anything else that's going on. So
yeah, the Frantic Search was a +2 instead of a -1.
Vessel there coming down and putting Forbidden Alchemy on the bottom of Jonathan Angelescu's deck. Definitely
now
safer there than it was in the graveyard.
It's a nice draw as well, because now he has access to white mana.
White mana, black mana, any color of mana that you need. That's what you got when you have your Vessel. And along comes Dimir Guildmage. That one can't get stopped by Counter Squall and immediately gets used to draw a card for Angelescu. Holzinger behind on mana a little bit here. 6 lands for Angelescu, just 5 mana available for the player on the right of our screen here.
Well, if he was behind on mana, he just picked up a Mana Vault.
All right, well, that'll do it. He's also getting to play a big mana card for a big discount thanks to Delve there with that Gomeg Angler. Keeping exactly 2 mana open, so there's still a potential for this counter score. Holzinger, he's the one on the back foot a little bit on life this game.
Yeah, I think his plan is to draw a card and attack for 4 in the air to put a 3-turn clock on Thomas Holzinger. And I believe there's a just a win. Oh.
Okay, Talrand. That is a card that, again, cannot be stopped by counter score. Holzinger here being punished a little bit of having this counter mana that he's just not been able to do very much with.
And yeah, he wants to attack for 4 in the air, and by doing so, he discards a just a win with the Menace ability, so he can play it. And he makes a Drake. That was full on value here.
Yeah,
Again,
I mean, even with just the wind getting countered there.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's still
happy.
He still, for 1 mana, jumped his Olivia's Dragoons and made a 2/2.
He has 6 power in the air for next turn. They would put Thomas down to 2, and any of the flying creatures would kill him on the following turn. 5 mana.
What do we have here? Well, that's going to be enough for Holtzinger to scoop his cards up. Just one more piece of removal, enough to make sure the path fully clear. And so we're going to see a deciding game here between Angelescu and Holtzinger. And it's the stakes pretty high. One of these players will be making it into day 2. They'll be setting themselves up to potentially get some drafting going on. The other one, well, they're just going to have to figure out which side events they want to play at this Magic Fest. I mean, there are a lot of different side events for them to play, but none of them have a trophy, a Pro Tour invite, and a whole bunch of money attached. At least one of them might have a Pro Tour invite, but that's about it. A Mythic Series invite.
So after this round, do they have a 9th round to play?
There is a 9th round today, but this is where the cuts happens. So
if you lose this round, you will not participate in the 9th round of the day.
I don't believe so. I mean, it may well be that it's kind of it's just cleaner not to have to worry about having those extra matches going on. Now, this time round, it will be potentially Holtzinger on the play. How important do you think being on the play is, especially when you have the likes of Mana Vault in your deck?
It's tough to say because both decks are control-ish, but they're also very tempo-oriented. With cards like Gourmet Angler, you're pretty happy to play it early. You can face just the wind, but if they don't have it, then it's a pretty big threat early in the game. And you don't want to be the one playing Gourmet Angler second.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because there are plenty of matchups where you say, oh, we're 2 slowish, control-ish decks. I'd rather just have the extra card. I'm not really going to get punished.
I think playing first, with so many cards that draw you cards, you don't really need the extra card. The tempo is, I think, a lot more important.
Looks like that's what Holtzinger has decided also. He just pointed at himself there, indicating that he would be on the play here.
Like, you don't want to play your Treasure Cruise on the draw. You want to play your cards, you want to play Treasure Cruise and play something else as soon as possible, not draw more cards when you already have more cards.
Well, got a bit of a signal as to what the white splash for Jonathan Angelescu is. He's got a copy of Faith Fetters in his hand. And for now, at least, no early plays coming down. Step 1 for Terramorphic Expanse, make sure you hit your main colours. And then, you know, if you're in the lucky situation of Angelescu having multiple copies in your deck, then you start worrying about trying to get your splash sorted.
So what do you think of keeping Urborg in this matchup for Holtzinger?
I mean, you do have some double black cards.
All
so
right.
it's not of no value. But, like, yeah.
But giving the option to tap Enchantum for black mana is a pretty big deal.
I think I cut it. I think I just cut it for a swamp.
Yeah. Also, he knows Jonathan has 2 Terramorphic Expenses. So they could be used for black mana right away.
And you see here that it's the last land that we're likely to see Holtzinger play until he needs double black.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very, very small detail. But who knows, it might come up being relevant.
Okay, so Forbidden Alchemy here coming along as Talrand comes on the other side of things. In principle, even tapping out for Forbidden Alchemy, if there was the likes of foil, there could still be an answer to this powerful legend.
And I think he had one in hand game 1.
I mean, foil is a really, really interesting card. There aren't too many counter spells in the history of the game that let you stop a spell without paying any mana, and the cost on foil is pretty substantial. Discarding an island and a blue card rather than paying its mana cost.
There are a few, though. There are a few counter spells for 0.
There are a few, but, like, I mean...
I can tell you at least 5. I can give you at least 5.
Thwart.
Daze, Force of Will, Pact of Negation.
foil.
Foil. Is that it?
Is that it?
Oh, no, there's
Disrupted
another.
Shoal,
That's right, yeah.
which is also in Ultimate Masters.
Isn't there a trap as well? Oh yes, the the
That one's not.
trap for 4 mana.
Yeah.
The exiled spells. Mindbreak trap.
As things stand, though, we just have,
Oh wow.
similarly to what we saw in Game 1, it's a Talrand fight. Whose Talrand's the best Talrand? Well, it's the
one-
Talrand
the one
that
that's
stays
alive.
Murderous Red Cap means that this standoff, well, it's not really a standoff at all. One of them's standing, the other one has fallen. And just like Transformers the movie,
Aquaman.
the good guys win.
Yeah, Talrand could be an Aquaman. I love
Yeah,
that
I
movie.
can see that.
I watched it last week. It was great.
I've still not seen it,
It's-
so no
it's great.
spoilers,
No
please.
spoilers. Oh, well, I'm gonna spoil a little bit. Talrand is not in the movie.
But
Even though he could be
He could be in the
movie,
background.
yeah.
He was a bit player rather than the star. He is an Aquaman, if not the Aquaman. And they're being punished for attacking. Getting tapped down, meaning that Swift Reckoning able to get things going there.
So not a lot of Drakes
Apparently not.
created here.
And of course, with this treasure
Wow.
cruise, Talrand going away, meaning that we're not going to see any death denieds from Jonathan Angelescu to get back Talrand. Though I guess still a potential that we may see some on the other side of things from Holtinger. The dream is not dead. Though, at least for now, Talrand is.
This game is going well for Jonathan.
He's drawn a lot of cards.
Yeah.
Just one of the metrics on which to figure out who's winning a game of Magic. Let's have a look at the overall number of cards that you've been able to draw, the amount of flexibility that offers you.
That Forgotten Alchemy was so good. Getting the best of the next 4 cards, putting 4 cards in the graveyard,
Yeah.
and then like
Setting up Treasure Cruise,
Yeah,
doing it
fueling
all.
the Treasure Cruise.
All right, so Gomag Angler means that now both Talrands have done good work in Delve, even if they weren't able to achieve very much on the battlefield. And Gomag Angler, just
Oh man, that's
quietly
it's pretty sad for
the
Aquaman.
gigantic 5/5.
It's pretty sad for Aquaman to be eaten by a zombie fish.
Yeah, I mean, this is not the way that it was written up. Faith's Fetters, meaning that at least that Gomag Angler not now able to attack. I mean, that kind of means that Talrand died in vain, got eaten in vain.
Yeah, Jason Momoa is Talrand the Summoner.
Whatever happened to the plans of that Magic movie?
Oh yeah,
Answers on the postcard.
yeah.
Dimir Guildmage on one side. Do we have a Dimir Guildmage for the other side just to keep this mirror going? We do not. And the mill there, very unexciting there for the Sultai side of things. So right now,
On 21 life, Enchantum is going to do some work.
yeah, Jonathan Angelescu is going to be able to leverage that Dimir Guildmage rather nicely. 6 mana there, including tapping that Ancient Tomb. Though we'll figure out if actually he's just using Urborg to mean that it's a swamp for right now, by virtue of what it's casting. Ghoul Steed. I like the zombie horses. There's a few of them that have shown up over the course of Magic.
Zombie horse?
Is the one from Rivals of Ixalan not a zombie horse as well?
Which one?
The black horse from Rivals of Ixalan. You literally drafted one last night. You played against some in
I
draft
did?
last night.
I
yeah.
did?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's too long ago already. And the Treasure Cruise now. All right, Thomas is just evening things up a little bit.
All right, here's Mana Vault. Powerful permanence coming down for Holtinger. Both these players.
The
have ways of
Ascend
getting
card.
rid of
The
them.
Ascend horse. I don't think it's a zombie. 3/3 for 4 and +2/+2 if you have the City's Blessing. I don't think it's a zombie.
Okay, Ghoulsteed coming on in here, doing a little bit of damage there.
Yeah,
Dust
it's just a
Charger,
horse,
just a horse.
Just a horse.
Stories say Demon Blood runs through its veins, making it fearless and bloodthirsty, but crucially not a zombie.
It's not a zombie. Still very much alive.
For those of you looking for your horse tribal lists, there's a few out there. All right, white mana available to both sides now.
Yeah, and 8 mana open on the
Right, Twins of Marrow Estate at full retail, so that the full 5 mana rather than being able to madness them out.
For an alchemy is probably going to be flashback this turn.
It would make sense,
Yes.
yeah. Get a little bit of value there.
Yeah, he could have drawn 2 cards off the Guildmage, but he preferred to
Counter score,
fire
so
off the alchemy.
Angelescu not getting to alchemy and indeed taking a couple of points there.
Is it time to refuel here?
And quite
I think
possibly.
you want to refuel when there's nothing happening. I mean, the 3/5 is not threatening. The 2/1 is not threatening. The red cap is not threatening.
And whatever you're going to do it fast because we're under 5 minutes left
yeah,
on this
5
round.
minutes.
Both
Yeah,
of
that's
these
right.
players are still at high life totals. Creeping Tar Pit, a pretty important addition to the left-hand side here. Jonathan Angelescu with an unblockable creature and indeed with a removal spell for these twins.
All right. That's nice. Nice. I like the mana tapping here.
Yep,
Tap the plane to activate the Creeping Tar Pit.
got to do it. You just have to.
So yeah, Jonathan is taking the aggro approach of this. Instead of drawing cards of the Guildmage and refueling, he decides to just go aggro and deal 9 damage, putting Thomas almost like dead to the Creeping Tar Pit, which is unblockable.
Yeah, Creeping Tar Pit, when you know that there's not very many turns left on the game, is a fantastic thing to have on your side of the battlefield. Obviously, it can still get interacted with once it's a creature, as any other creature could with removal, but it cannot be blocked. And that means that potentially it's a straightforward path to victory here for Angelescu if he can just get it into the red zone a few more times.
Do you try to... I don't think Thomas is on 11. I think he's on like a lot less life.
A little wave there from a pleased-looking Tom Hall. I know that he was
Well, maybe
playing
he
for
was.
day 2.
Maybe he was. 6-8 go down to 4. I mean, the Dimir Guildmage would have been a pretty good job at discarding everything in Thomas' hand and make sure the Creeping Tar Pit... life orders are correct. being told.
Okay, Stitch Strike here, eating that Dimir Guildmage, getting one final answer. But as it turns out, all lands in hand for Thomas Holtzinger. With 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock, Jonathan Angelescu picking up the second win that he needed to make sure that he will be one of our drafters. Draft is, of course, the exciting format we're going to get a chance to check out tomorrow. There is going to be one more round today. After the cut, we just have an extra round because with such a gigantic tournament, we really want to make sure that there's going to be enough rounds that the tiebreakers will work out so that it's a cleanish cut for top 8. But we will have a little bit more magic for you. There'll be some Time Warp magic for you very soon indeed. Do not go anywhere. More magic after these messages. Hello and welcome back to this coverage of round 8 of Grand Prix Prague. While it's not the last round of our day, for various players it will be the last round of their tournament, because this is where the rubber really hits the road. These are the players that are playing for day 2, and by day 2 we actually mean round 9, because 6-2 is the record that you need for that cutoff. After that, well, if you've not got those 6 wins, you're not going to be able to play the final round, or indeed all of the lovely drafting that happens right thereafter on Sunday. But we're going to get a chance to see some time walk magic now from a former world champion, Julian Naughton, a game up against Piotr Sielski, and looking to find one more game win to lock up his opportunity to get some drafting going on here.
Yeah, Julian was in the top 8 of GP Warsaw.
Yeah, he's having a bit of a resurgence in the game lately, and I can certainly understand wanting to come back for the likes of Ultimate Masters. Very exciting set to get a chance to play with, and some of these cards I'm guessing that he will be familiar with from the first time round.
Yeah, Julian is 2 times world champion.
Oh, because he was on a team champions.
Yeah, in Paris in 2006.
Yeah, I was there. Team Netherlands was a very strong team that year, as I recall.
Robert van Middelvoort.
Robert van Middelvoort and Camille Cornelissen.
Was Camille in the team as well?
I believe so, yeah. And they defeated Team Japan in the finals of that team tournament.
He was 14 when he won Worlds in 2004.
Yeah, just fantastic performance from him. Kitchen Finks coming along here from Piotr.
He also has 2 or 3 GP wins.
Yeah, very, very, very good player. And has worked as a chef at various points also.
He had his own. I think he had his own place at some point.
Certainly did. But we've not seen so much green-white in our feature match area thus far. What can we reasonably expect to be seeing from these players? I mean, there's Enchantment's a go-go here as Conviction comes down for that Kitchen Finks, now meaning that it's able to quite merrily attack past a Cathodian without bother.
He would have gladly traded as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
A -1 counter for a Cathodian.
I mean, I guess that one thing that we could see from this green-white deck on either side of things is Heliod's Pilgrim fetching up assorted auras particularly potent in this colour combination. Kadama's Reach, though, means that the colour combination could get a little bit fruitier very shortly indeed.
Or not.
Or apparently not in the slightest. Between Terramorphic Expanse and Kadama's Reach, there was always a chance that we were going to see some impressive colour combinations from Julian Naughton, but he's going to go with the colour combination that won a World Championship, so that's kind of fair enough.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's holding the other part of the splash in his hand. Maybe he's holding Mountain or Island in his hand.
Quite possibly. As things stand, though, Cathodian getting in for 4. Blows being traded between these two decks. Looks like a noble hierarch available for Piotr Sielski if he wants to push the tempo even further in terms of the amount of damage that's coming through in the red zone this turn. Can he do better? Looks like he thinks he can. He's got a Hooting Mandrills, a 4/4 for the full 6 there, not playing any delve whatsoever to make his apes a little cheaper.
Yeah, this is the big difference between white-green and blue-black. Blue-black has 5/5 for 2, and white-green has, well, 4/4 for 6. Delve is much harder to
on Cathodian, so it is well and truly
Coronet?
suited up.
It is a Daybreak Coronet.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is now a terrifying monster that we have on our hands. It has
this
Vigilance, First Strike, Hexproof, Lifelink,
and First Strike,
and plus 3
for 3. Yeah.
So it's
7/7. First strike, which is pretty much the same as First Strike.
Yep, it's not double strike. That's not how this game works.
Oh, wow.
All right,
What?
so we have got some cool splashes. All right, I'm happy now. Lava Claw Reach is coming down. Unlikely to see that one activated super soon. But in the meantime, Cathodian is just doing great work here.
Yeah, last round, was it last round or the round before? We saw Jeremy Desani with his Sigarda, Spider Umbra, and Daybreak Coronet.
Daybreak Coronet, a very powerful card indeed.
Against blue-black that had all his dust in hand. Well, here it's against white-green. There's not a lot of ways to deal with this Cathodian.
Yeah, sacrifice effects.
All his dust would work, actually.
Yeah, all his dust is pretty much the only sacrificed effect you're likely to see in green-white.
And no, Face Feather would not work. Now, there's not a lot of ways to.
Yeah, it's
to
like
deal with that
Wickerbow
Custodian.
Elder to blow up the shielding plaques, or I guess to blow up one of the enchantments, and things start to look interesting.
Or maybe.
Maybe just suit up your own monster so it's big enough to block.
This one is 8. He can block.
What in the world is going on, Raf Levy?
All right.
After all of these blue-black mirrors, which have been grindy card advantage, it's like, all right, I've got a big monster. Well, no, I've got the biggest monster. Well, maybe I've got the biggest monster. This is a different breed of Magic that we're seeing all of a sudden. Come on, more Heliod's
yes, yes.
Yes, we have got more enchantments.
What do we get? What do we get?
I mean, Faith Fetters for Julian would work absolutely fine.
Oh, yeah. Any enchantment, actually.
How about
Umbra.
Boar Umbra. All right.
It's not big enough.
Still not big enough?
I think 10 would be better than 7. I mean, for now, 7 is not big enough.
What in the world is going on?
How about a 10-10?
Are we going to see an Eldrazi conscription at some point? Is that where this game's going?
That would be so good. Buff.
I mean, the thing is here
I
that
think Kitchen Fink is going to.
that is just one creature. But the life totals, yes, Kyoto gets to gain 2 life when that Kitchen Finks comes into play. Julian's at 29 now. He just gained 10. This is not the game that Piotr Sielski signed up for. At least not for his opponent to be playing.
I think this is exactly how R&D intended the green-white deck to be.
Yeah,
have one creature and
one Lava Core reaches in play. And
well, no, except for the Lava Claw reaches.
The Lava Core reaches is stunningly out of place on this battlefield. It's a tourist at this game.
You know, I think he might have misregistered his deck. So yeah, well, just played this card.
This is game 2.
Yeah, well, maybe he forgot to sideboard it out.
I mean, Noble Hierarch comes along now, so that's another speed bump for...
Oh, you know what it could be? Like, it's the red mana for the Wild Hunger to give it trample.
A Vengeful Rebirth somewhere.
No, Wild Hunger to give the Cathodian the 10-10 Cathodian, first strike, trample, blah, blah, blah. No, not trample. Everything but trample.
All I want to see now is an Eldrazi conscription. Is that too much to ask?
I think it's very much to ask.
Well, that's all I want. All I want for Christmas is Eldrazi conscription to go on this Cathodian. He wants to join Team Eldrazi alongside... He's already pretending to be a boar. He's already got a scarf. He's already pretending to be a hyena. He's already got some shielding something or other on it.
What was the scarf? It looks like a soccer fan.
Meanwhile, the hero that we needed is taking a bit of a while to show up. The heroic side of things might not be a big deal, but yeah, this is a bonkers game of Magic that we find ourselves witnessing here.
Yeah, and Rich was like, "Oh, I have a fun game to show you." Well, it's actually fun. It's fine.
I mean, it's probably not super fun for Piotr Sielski right now because he's basically playing against the Abyss.
Yeah.
Every turn he's having to throw a creature away. Unfortunately, it's an Abyss that's gaining Julian Naughton 10 life a turn on top of everything else.
Tim, what happened to us? Look at us. When people play Boggles, everybody's like, "Oh no, it's terrible. Why would you play this?" And now we're just happy to see a hexproof creature with first strike.
It's
10-10.
It's a novelty. If this is every game of Magic, I'm not a happy bunny. But if it happens every now and again,
all right,
I can dig it.
Fine.
And of course, tomorrow, if people really want to, they can gun for drafting exactly this deck.
Yep.
If you open a Daybreak Coronet, pack one, pick one.
Yeah, I think you can go for it. Shielding Plex is a very good way to put it together as well.
Yeah, Shielding Plex, it means that you don't have to rely on just getting some small, inconsequential hexproof creature to suit up. You get to pick whichever monster you want. In this case, Cathodian is exactly the monster that Julian Naughton is using, just again and again and again to attack in, kill off a creature, gain himself a whole ton of life. I mean, the first strike on it means as well that the likelihood of Sielski ever being able to piece together a set of
How
blocks
many-
that are going to do anything is almost zero.
So this is a question for you at home. How many creatures and how much power does Piotr needs to kill Cathodian?
Okay.
And how many times does he have to kill it?
Over under on the life total that Julian Knighton will finish this game at. I'm going to say that the line is 99.
I think it's a little less because I think Piotr is going to scoop before.
We will find out soon enough. Even though this is a time walk match, neither of us know exactly how it's going to be completed.
So how many times do you have to kill the Cathodian? You have to kill it 3 times. And it's actually 10-10. So you'd need
10-10 first strike.
you need 20 power. Let's say creatures are XX. You need 20 power the first time. 18 the second time.
Yeah, this is a rough ask. I mean, the easiest thing would be to get something like a Wickerbow Elder to get rid of the shielding.
Oh, there's actually a card. That's actually a card that works very well.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's on. Oh no, it's not. It's on this format. Unfortunately, the 2/2 that prevent all damage.
There's not Fracturing Gust in this format, is there?
Fracturing Gust, no. Is this a regenerating creature?
I mean, yeah, there's Patchwork Gnomes. You could just be...
Yeah, but nah.
It's a big old ask to get anything done here.
What could actually be good here?
I mean, what if you had Ulamog as an indestructible creature?
Ulamog's the indestructible creature I was looking for. That's right. And you can destroy the...
You can destroy the shielding plaques. Or, I mean, destroy the Daybreak Coronet even.
The Coronet, yeah.
And then you've got Ulamog.
Yeah, attack for 6.
Great. I've got this double striker. I mean, that is going to mess up my math on getting to 99. But...
In another world, that would have been great. And this world, not so much.
Sorry, Piotr. You have entered a world of Cathodians being the ruling classes here.
Oh, no, come on.
A Snake Umbra.
It could have been so good on the other guy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that if this means that we get to draw more cards to make the Cathodian bigger, then maybe. Oh my goodness me. This must have been a funny old day for Julian. Because he'll have opened up his packs however many hours ago it was and been like, well, I guess I can do this. And ever since, like, I would venture to suggest that he will have had a lot of games that are essentially this.
And even if he manages to kill the 5/5, it's going to come back as a 4/4. And he still needs to deal with the 10/10 Cathodian.
Yeah. Plume Veil coming along, meaning that at least this set of blocks is okay.
I mean, all this does would be pretty good.
All his dust would be...
I don't see white green playing all this dust, but that's probably the only way. Actually, it's not, because now he's on 3. And all his dust will leave the Cathodian. He would die to the attack. Oh no.
Alright. Safe Old Elite. That's a little bit more blocking.
Julian can attack.
When the pass is with both hands that have just been taken away from your own temples, you know that you're not having a great game of Magic.
So what's with that Levaclar Reach?
We're going to have to ask Julian about this afterwards.
Does he have more?
And he now has a Swamp in play as well. So
yeah. 1 red and he can attack. He can activate it to attack. Maybe that's his play. Maybe he's splashing for Undying Rage.
73. Two lands in hand here. Piotr shovels them up before playing down that Terramorphic Expanse.
It's only 8 lands. It's not going to be a Ulamog.
All right.
83.
83.
Getting close.
The 99 line. Ronom Unicorn here. So Julian was totally ready for the mirror here between Wickerbow Elder and... I mean, he could give Piotr Sielski a fighting chance here. If he was a sporting man, he might just say, you know what? Pick 2 enchantments of my own, I'll blow them up. If he really wanted to be sporting, he'd blow up his own Cathodian with that Wickerbow Elder. It's only got hexproof. Come now, Julian. You've got 83 life. Play a little.
He has lethal.
Play with us. Play a
game. He has lethal next turn, so...
All right. What are we going to see from Naughton here?
Oh, Fiend Hunter.
come now.
Sorry, 93 life.
there's just a handshake there. 83.
Still had
I
all
guess it
these.
was 93 at the point that he would have actually won the game. So that's the line. We didn't quite get to 99, but it was closer than maybe many people might have thought. Good job there by Julian Naughton. Makes it through to the next round. So he will be drafting over the course of this weekend. Good for him. And for those of you that are hoping to see a little bit more magic, we've got a whole more extra round to go. So we'll get a chance to show you that right after these messages.